Some of the brand ambassadors are going to be showing their, I believe, their favorite gouache colors. So today I'm going to show you all of the gouache colors. And I thought I'd start with showing you the updated CLab because it's, I think it's useful for many of you. And it's a way to look at the color spectrum. This is from the perspective of the spectrophotometer. So you can kind of see where the colors are, and it just tells you a huge amount of information about the colors. I thought we'd play with that for a little while, and then look at the gouache, and it's probably going to end up being about it. So I can see Barbara, and I see Sandra, and Bob. Hello, everybody. It's good seeing all of you. So let's flip over to my other screen. Choose that one. Hello, Anna. Okay. So now you should be able to see my other screen, I think. Get rid of this one. And draw that one out. Okay, so this is the CLab, and it's not on the site yet. It'll be probably tomorrow. It'll go live, and then we'll do. As I hear back from some of you, I'll do updates to make it a better and better tool. But what I was asked for is, could I have a color mapping tool that was interactive? And this one's relatively interactive. You can see the different quadrants from the warmest to here, which is the coolest. And you can, by holding Shift key down, you can move it from side to side if you want. You can move it up and down. If the ones you're looking at, for example, if you're looking at blacks and it was very condensed, you can hold the Shift key and use your up arrow to open up and give it space to look at, so it's not so congested, which is kind of interesting. You can hover over any color and see what that color is. So this is Chinese white, hematite, Joseph's gray, and right here is the darkest that we have, lamp black. Just kind of take you around the space. You can come over to question mark and find out how to use it. If I go too fast, you can click on any of the color squares to see a pop-up window like that. And the pop-up window is going to tell you the pigment. For example, shadow violet, we're looking at PB 29, pigment green 18, and pigment orange 73. It'll tell you the complements, which are the colors that are directly opposite on the axis. And it gives you the CLab, the light, and the X and Y coordinates, if that's something that you wanted to know about. And just click anywhere, it'll go away. You can actually click and compare up to 20 different colors. So we'll play with that a little bit. And this tells you how to zoom in right here. If you want to zoom in, but I just explained it shows you right here. So let's look at a couple of colors. I'm going to bring it back down again. Let's look at Mayan blue. You can add that to our compare. Blue apatite, you can add that. Lunar blue, you can add that. Kyanite, we can add that. So we're going to compare these colors. And then we just come over to our compare tool, which is right here. These double arrows are compare. And it brings up the colors that we just clicked on. So here we see the Mayan blue, the blue apatite, the lunar blue, and the kyanite. So Primatech and Primatech and Primatech. Tells you what the series are. It tells you the pigment. You know, these are Primitex because they're, say, the pigment is genuine Mayan, genuine blue heptide, and genuine kyanite. Whether it's staining, low staining, non-staining, granulating or non-granulating, transparent, semi-transparent, or opaque, and then the light fastness. Excellent 100+ years, very good 100 years. What the complement color is as well. So the neat thing here is you can see the granulations. You can see right away these are granulating colors. And you can click on it to see a bigger image. So there's the bigger image. And not only see the bigger image, but you can also read information about it. So the story, every color has a story, and when you do it this way, you can see also the story behind it. And this one, not all of them, but many of them also have other colors artists have picked. I know Giovanni does a lot of this, and Letizia. So you can see here's lunar blue, and here's other blues. And you could actually write these names down and again search these and add these to the comparison as well, up to 20. But it allows you to see the one that you're talking about or we're looking about, for example, lunar blue. And you can see how does that deal with like cobalt green pale or fuchsite genuine or viridian, or come to this side, ultramarine turquoise. You can kind of see where it fits within that range. And you might say, well, you know, actually this one is very interesting to me. And you can actually go and look this one up. So it's a very interesting tool. You can see also for lunar blue, if you want to see a video, this one has a video embedded that you can actually watch the video of this particular color. Does say what they're available in. So you can see this one's available in 5 mil tubes, 15 mil tubes, and half pans. So if we go back, I've not always had the best luck of going back. There we go, going back. We can go to the next thing, which is the 3D mode. And now you can see them all in 3-dimensional space. You can stop it. You can see your reds and your yellows and your darks and your greens, if that's of interest to you. And you can hold over any one of them and see what the name of the name is. Again, you can hold your arrow key down or shift down and then arrow up to increase the space, so you can see them larger. So there's phthalo. Where's spring? Spring. Anyway, you can come into, so that's it. That's the 3-dimension mode. You go back and just click here to go back into 2-dimension. Now we're back in 2-dimension. You can see it in dark mode if that pops them better for you. And again, just search any one of them and it's going to see what the name is. And if you come into here, now you can do a search filter. So say we wanted to see all of the non-staining, non-granulating green colors. So it's, make sure we see the whole screen. Okay, so it's going to be those two right there. And those two would be Amazonite and Fuchsite. If we said, I want to see all of the red colors. Now it's going to list all of the red colors. If I said I wanted to see all granulating colors, now it's going to show you all of the granulating colors. So I'm going to fully open up my screen. There we go. So now it's going to show you all of the granulating colors. Right there. Those are all the granulating colors. So you kind of play around with that as well. Try to make it as useful as possible. It can always make it where it was a lot more questions to make it deeper and deeper and deeper. This gives you a pretty good deep dive on finding the information about all of the colors. And you can come up here. So let's get rid of any, we'll clear all of our filters. And now we can search for anything we want to search for as well. So let's search for spring green. There it is. There's spring green right there. So you can search for a color as well. It is a little bit intolerant of spelling, I have found. So I probably play around with that a little bit. It makes it sometimes to make that easier is a little bit more difficult than it would seem. I especially have some issues with the spelling of phthalos. So, okay. So again, you can compare. Get rid of that clear filter, open them up. There we go.
John, we have a question here by Lisa. She says, what are the axis labels, especially in 3D?
The axes always remain the same, right? You have a x-axis and a y-axis here. They're called A and B axis. And they run through the center of both planes, which are, the planes. One becomes negative to your left and positive to your right, negative to the top, positive top and negative to the bottom. For example, let me make this smaller. And you can kind of see that here. You can see negative 10, and here you can see positive 10. Here you see I think she has these. I think she might have this axis wrong.
Top ones are negative?
I'm sorry, more time.
The top ones are negative? The vertical?
So it should be the very top. The warmest are going to be positive, positive. I have to talk to her about that. That's wrong. I just saw that. And then, because this is negative here, positive here, negative here, positive here. So
looks like upside down.
Yeah, this axis right here is, yes. So I'll have her fix that. Thank you for catching that. But you can see it's whether it's three-dimensional or not, these axes will go through the plane. Do you understand what I mean when I say plane? It's like this. This is a plane, and you have two planes that create the 3D, right? You have this plane and this plane. They're called planes. But you still have an X and Y coordinate that goes through both of them. Okay, so I'll fix that. That's good. That's good to fix. Some of these things you never do until you're showing somebody else and you go, oh, wait a minute. That's, yeah, I've got to change that. So it's a pretty interesting tool. Again, this is how the spectrophotometer sees it. This isn't necessarily how maybe you might see it as an artist, because you're going to be adding, you know, different colors which will move this color either up or down from where it's at. Just another way to see color. Okay. Anything else you'd like to see? It's a lot of fun to play with it.
So do you have a class? Can you check for all the Primatext, for example?
Let's see if I did that. I did not do that as a family, but that's easy to add on. So if that's helpful, I can add that on. Yeah, easy to add on. I'll do that as a filter.
John, a
Well,
quick
only
question. Is
because of
there a
this-
print
oh.
option?
So two of you ask questions. I'll do one from each one of you. Go ahead.
Sorry, I wanted to know if you were to come up with a combination, is there a print screen option once you've come up with what you're looking for?
Oh, so a selection. Print your selection. Nope, didn't add that one. I'll put that down.
Yeah, you may do a screenshot, Giovanni says.
You can definitely do a screenshot, but I think Carolyn might be asking, can you also have a thing of printing out your selection? Yeah, I find out that I'm sure we could do that. I'm going to be working. The other thing that you as a group have asked about was a list of the colors I have and the colors I want. So that's the one that we're working on next. And we'll probably integrate these two tools together. So you might say, oh, I really like this one over here now that I've researched it, and we'd have it some way of then putting it part of your colors I'd like to have.
But John, is there like, will the system save your selection? Is there like a profile? Do you have to sign in?
So it's a legal issue here in the US. Because the only way to save it is to have user information, and we don't save user information at all. But what we would do for the tool that says, here are the colors I have, here are the colors I want, we would make it as an app that would go into your phone, and therefore you would own it, and you could save it there. It'd be savable on your phone, therefore nobody else could get to it. So
Yeah,
for this as a
good
general
idea.
tool, it'd be no, but for the one, my favorite colors or colors that I have or colors I want, we would make an app that would be resident on your phone that only you would have access to. So the answer would be yes for that. So we're going to work on that next.
That's a really good idea, because so I can plan if I like a color, I can save it in one list, and the following time I go to a shop, I can check the colors that are on my list. for
Yeah,
example.
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that's
you go to-
perfect. Lots of my students would use that app.
Yeah. And we also thought about some way, if you wanted to share it, you could share your list together. If that's what you wanted to do, you could send your list to somebody else, a friend, etc. if you wanted to do that. But you
Exactly.
Well,
can,
the people
you
use
can-
it as a wish list for Christmas
exactly,
gifts.
exactly.
Yeah.
And you'd be in
Good
total
idea.
control of it.
I have an idea. And
Yes.
based a little bit on what Angela was saying about the Primatext, I was just going to say a +1 on Primatext just because of the spelling. You have the problem with Fadeless, but I cannot spell most of the Primatext. So it will be an easy search. But another idea that it just
Yeah.
occurred to me with all these saving that you were saying, how about the dot cards of all the artists? You know, like you want to have a specific artist and just look the dot card. That would be really cool as well.
The filter.
Yeah, that
Another
becomes,
filter. Yeah.
we
I
have
mean,
the,
later, that's like a back burner project, but that's just an idea.
yeah, we have the dot cards are actually on the Daniel Smith site for every
Oh,
art.
I know, but here in the
David.
CIE lab.
I don't think that would be difficult to do. Yeah, that's something you definitely could look at.
Yeah,
Write
for
that.
later, it's not, but
Yeah,
that would
yeah,
be
yeah.
nice.
No, good idea. I love ideas. Be a
John, does this or could this coordinate with something like an Excel file? I think I may have seen something on your website. Would this be able to coordinate with something like an Excel file that you can also put in your, I have this and I wish list in that?
You know, the Excel files that exist on the system right now, you could download those and absolutely do that. Absolutely. That would work. We just want to, we're going to just make it a whole lot easier to have it be more interactive.
Yeah.
But you're absolutely correct. They are there right now as Excel files. And you could download them and put the same column in yourself. You could make it work.
John,
Yes.
are these only watercolors? Gouaches are included here or not? I think.
Yes, right now, this is just watercolors. And I will talk to Ron about how this would look for gouache. But this is just watercolor.
Okay.
This
Oh,
excludes,
Luminescent are also there?
I was just gonna say that. This excludes all of the luminescence because
Ah.
the luminescents have so much mica that when we hit them with a spectrophotometer, they would all be at the very, very top in one tight little ball where they'd all be on top of each other. So just not worth doing. In fact, I think it is in here as a disclaimer. It's in here somewhere. I just read it as a disclaimer. But no,
Yes, at the top. I can read it go up.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, excluding the luminescent.
Yeah.
And that's because they would all ball up into, they'd be 50 something of them, just one tight little ball. Because they're so, they give off so much light back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's kind of neat. Just it's interesting way to it's an interesting way to see colors. It's kind of neat for not only artists who are so inquisitive, but even for little kids to see and try to understand color. It's a fun way to see color.
Makes it so much easier than digging around in your paint boxes, just looking for the color.
Oh, yes.
So I will make that one change. I will add the Primitex. That's a really good idea. And I'll see about how we can add the brand ambassadors to it. Yeah.
And it's an amazing card, and I think it's interesting. Maybe when you get the Aussie red gold and the lavender, and you can lay it over, and you see a mix.
Yeah, you know, we're in the process of, I think a couple of the brand ambassadors asked about that. And so we're seeing how that's possible to do. It's super possible to do, you know, as you as artists do all the time. It's just sometimes a little bit difficult to have the computer do it. So we're looking at how it's a great suggestion. We're looking at how we can do that now.
Amazing.
To see if it's possible to do that.
Yes. Wow.
I like the 3D is actually, I think is
Oh, I love
one of the most fun.
And can you choose just the cold colors or just the warm?
Oh,
That's a really good question. Would that be something that would be useful to you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because essentially what that would be everything in the 4 different quadrants. It'd be the plus would be the warmest. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, absolutely.
Good idea, Sabine.
Warm,
Thank you.
cold, quads. Yep. So add Primatech, warm, cold, and then how to possibly print my selection. The other would be at some time. Yeah, okay. I'll think of
Because
more
you
things.
haven't added like a cold, well, you were talking about now cold worm, but the other families, it's not thought for families, right?
Which families are those?
Like quinacridones or parrels or.
No, we're gonna do that. It's pretty easy to do. It just makes this list super, super long. Because if you're doing families, and we've talked so much, you guys are very knowledgeable about families now. There's the phalos, the pyrroles, the paralates, the cobalts, the quinacridones. There's just a lot of families that offhand. Yeah, I know. I can do that as a test too. I can do. The answer to that is yes.
Okay, because it's not hurting to ask, and because you're doing a list like Santa for next
Yeah, I
year.
just want to make sure.
I want
I
to
don't want-
add, can
I
you
just
look
don't
for
want-
pigment, for example? Oh, sorry.
No. Nope, I didn't hear that. So families, etc. So yeah, the other one would be, subsets. There could be subsets, for example, as you were saying, different pigment families. But you'd kind of get those in here. I mean, you can have,
Can you just search and just,
you can,
oh,
But
okay,
you-
then it's
but-
fine.
you can't put, it won't search for the pigment. For example, I put
Oh,
PO 48. I don't know if it's going to pick it up or not. It's not going to pick up PO 48 because it's not necessarily going to look. It's not necessarily going to look like an orange because again, that pigment, which is pigment orange 48, might be the second pigment within a particular color, and it might be just a very small quantity of that pigment, which would be overshadowed by the primary pigment.
mhm.
So
And
it
what
becomes
if
a little bit.
if you wrote like quinacridone, would it show you all the quinacridones maybe?
And the pigments, yeah, that's what
I
I'm
don't
thinking.
think it's going to show the. I don't think it's going to show the quins. No, well, it does.
Ah, so that's a way to
It's
So
still
it
say,
would show
would
you
stop it.
pigments, yeah.
See if it does. It looks like it does.
Oh, so maybe we can just
So you
write
can click on that
Primatech.
and it
That's it.
shows the color, right, the pigment?
So if
so cool.
it's in the name,
Uh-huh.
so quinacridone it's going to do it. So what's another one? How about if we do cobalt, COBL? That should work too.
Or
So when you
Primatech.
click on it, will it show the pigment in there?
COB.
Yep.
Yeah.
There it is.
yeah, it does. Fantastic. So parallels would be the same and salos. Yeah.
And Primatech, this is better than it was.
Caroline.
Next is
So
different.
that's what we spelled wrong.
Peri. Well, I think it's PRI.
And Primatech.
No.
I don't know if they all have
Yeah,
Primatech.
Because there's no color that is called Primatech.
There's not.
Wow.
There's genuine.
Genuine.
GEN. So those are all probably be the genuine colors right there.
Ooh,
36 results, yeah.
So yeah. I guess there's different ways of playing with it.
Yep.
So
Hey,
I'm gonna put it as a live probably either Thursday or Friday, and I would love for any or all of you to try it out and send me observations that you have. Because it's really having a tool that works for you. So yeah, somebody's asking me a question.
Oh, does this show the particle size of the pigments? For us
Blah, blah,
geeks?
blah, 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 blah. It does not. It does not show the particle size. No. But they're all going to be less than 40 microns. Because even the ones that we do, which are the genuine ones, are less than 40 microns. But some of them are, some of them are sub-micron. No, I love that geeky part. They're just really cool to learn about. It's not.
is there a search for a single pigment?
So
I
the
mean,
no-
single pigment paints.
blah, 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 blah. No, I can do that. So as somebody was saying before, there is all of the pigments and all of the colors are on spreadsheets, Excel
Mhm.
spreadsheets that are in
Right.
on danielsmith.com. And you can just go to the column and say, sort, either find a single pigment, sort by a single pigment. It will do all of that. I didn't make this one do everything that was on the spreadsheet. I
Okay.
can have it do that. I just know how many people would be interested in seeing a red that was a single pigment when they were interested in a green, for example.
And also because it's more fun to look it up here than in an Excel sheet.
Yeah, it
So-
is. I mean, you can see it, but the main thing is you can see it. So I can, let me, would that be of use for you to see?
I guess for some it would be.
Just for the sake of establishing your palette, if you're interested in single pigment paints.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, there
I can
you
have
go,
them on.
John.
No problem. I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna go back to 2D mode, and I'm gonna go back to bright mode. Yeah, you can definitely do that. So I like the comparison. I like being able to, I think, seeing the stories are interesting. Again,
Yeah.
this here tells you this is a 1 to 10
Taking it there.
by weight to do this. And then the neat thing is you can come in, you can see here's spring green, here's the colors that, are, a lot of these are done by Letitia and by Giovanni. And it's and Ethel, this is part of What Color Wednesday? Or used
Yeah.
to be?
Yeah.
Where people guess what the colors are.
Mm.
But it's kind of neat. And then you can look up, you can look up any of these colors to see where they fall on the CLab. Okay. All right, so those are great suggestions. Let me see how. Actually, they're pretty, I think they're pretty straightforward and easy to do. So I will get those done. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you, and Ethel, thank you very much. So tomorrow, many of the brand ambassadors are going to show, hello, Ashley, many of the brand ambassadors are going to show you their gouache. So I wanted to show you all of the gouache today so you can kind of see it. And the machine was doing a very nice job of color today. Don't know why that is, but so this is going to be mass tone. Okay, this is 1-to-1, 1 part paint to 1 part water by weight, so equal weight, 1-to-1. And this is a 1-to-1-to-1, 1 part paint to 1 part water to 1 part titanium white. And this is just to show you the strength of the pigment load, because the white should get rid of it. If the weaker the pigment load, the more this is going to go toward a white, and the heavier the pigment load, the more it is going to be the color that you're looking at. So it's a high yellow, lots of pigment. So this one is Hansa Yellow Light, and these are gouache. Now we're looking at gouache. This is buff titanium. It's actually quite beautiful. And this black right here is black ground, and this is just the white of the paper. So the white of the paper, the black ground, and then the color over the top of it. This is Cad Yellow Light. This is Cad Yellow Medium. This is Hansa Yellow Medium. This is Lemon Yellow. This is Indian Yellow. Tansy Yellow Deep. This is Pyrrole Orange. This is Cad Orange U. Pyrrole Scarlet. Cad Red Medium. Pyrrole Red.
So powerful.
Using that.
Yes.
Alizarin Crimson.
Wow.
Very difficult to make it
Interesting.
into a
Very,
gouache because it's so
Looks
transparent.
very dark,
Yes.
It's dark.
dark in reality.
This is the permanent alizarin crimson. This is Carmen. Opera pink.
Is it also fugitive? These two are also fugitive, John?
Yeah,
In-
a pigment never changes its
Characteristic.
tone. I mean, it is what it is. So it's gonna, because it's just it's the same pigment,
Of
and just
course.
more of it, it's still gonna be fugitive.
Hmm. Okay.
But again, quinacridone magenta is underneath it. So when the fluorescent goes away, the quinacridone magenta will still be underneath it.
Mm.
That won't go away.
Yeah.
So this is the quin magenta. This is the Bordeaux. Oh my God, it looks like Bordeaux wine. Bordeaux.
It does.
Oh, wow.
Wisteria.
It's pretty. Wisteria.
This is the quin purple.
Wow.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
People ask me, John, how come there's no, quinacridone yellow? And there's a quinethalone yellow, but no quinacridone yellow. And it's just, I guess no one's ever wanted to pay the price for the company to produce that pigment, so they just never have.
Hmm.
This is carbazole violet. This is moon glow.
Really?
Moon glow. So you're going to lose that. If it's in mass tone, you're going to lose that granulation, right? Because granulation, you really would need to have enough water to get that granulation. This is Indanthrone blue. You can kind of see it in here. Can you see it on the screen? A little bit hard to see on the screen. Not bad though. Ultramarine blue.
Mm.
Still my favorite color. It's just beautiful. Carbazole, this is cobalt blue. This is phthalo blue green shade. Lavender.
Gorgeous color.
And this is King's Royal blue.
Mhm.
Prussian blue. Cerulean blue. Cerulean blue chromium. So cerulean blue chromium, just a huge difference from those two. This is phthalo blue turquoise. It's really, can you see that? It's really pretty. Cobalt teal blue. Phthalo green, and this is the blue shade. Cascade green. spring green, permanent green light, sap green, it's really pretty, sap green,
Mm,
olive green,
beautiful.
chrome titanate, yellow ochre, raw sienna, this is environmental friendly red iron oxide, Indian red, this is Venetian red. So compare that against the Indian red. So
Mm,
this is Indian and this is Venetian.
beautiful.
Piemontite,
I love that color.
bloodstone,
Mm,
this is environmental friendly brown iron oxide. Burnt sienna. This is hematite. This is burnt umber. This is environmental friendly yellow iron oxide.
Beautiful.
This is raw umber. Raw umber. This is sepia. Bendick brown. Again, this is mixed with the titanium.
What color is that, John?
Van Dyke brown.
Wow.
So mass tone 1:1 and 1:1:1.
Thank you.
This is neutral tint. You like that one, Giovanni?
Yeah, Van Dyck and neutral is my favorite.
Oh, yes.
John,
Yes.
you said before, when making gouache, you are using the same pigment with watercolors.
Yes.
Same binder, Arabic gum, I
Yes.
think.
Yes.
Only the difference is you use far much concentrated pigments, I think.
Yes.
I wonder what makes a transparent color opaque. Using it much more concentrated makes it opaque, or
Yes. So the whole idea about trying to make it opaque is how do you cover the white? And
yes,
you can cover the white in different ways. And watercolor gouache, we talked about this earlier, watercolor gouache is 100% different than acrylic gouache. They're apples and oranges between the two. One's a polymer and one is non-polymer. So you can either add more pigment to cover the white. You can have bigger particle size. Could be less pigment, but bigger particle size to cover the white. Or you could use an opacifier mixed in with your pigment to cover the white.
Fillers.
So
or
those are the
what?
three general ways to do it. The
Mhm.
way that we've chosen to do it is we just use more pigment. So
Mhm.
it's how much pigment do you add and how can you add it through the
Cover the white.
making process to
Mhm.
cover that white.
Okay, then the cost of gouache is much more expensive than watercolors.
Yes, it is. It is.
Be-
Yes, it is more expensive because you're using more of
More pigment.
Yes.
Only you use much more concentrated pigments. No other chemical process or fillers or
No, that's why we're showing here mixed with the titanium white. We're
Yes.
showing that it is the pigment load and it's not an opacifier.
yes. I
Otherwise,
see.
this would be way more white.
White, more white.
Yes.
Then when we use gouache with much more water, does it behave like watercolor?
So you could, I would probably say it's, so you could take any of these and you could add a lot of water to finally get it down to what a watercolor would look like. These, by definition, these are water media, not watercolor.
Mhm.
You could actually take these down because it is the same binder, gum arabic, because it is the same pigment. You could add a lot more water to disassociate the particles to have it approximate what it would look like in a watercolor. It's better if you want to do that, because some people say, well, I can just buy that and put more water. You know, the thing about being a watercolor artist is all about the knowledge that you learn over the time that you've put in. So you've learned how to use a watercolor as a watercolor to try to do that and have a gouache behave like a watercolor, which you could do, you're right, would just take a huge amount of time and
John, an easy answer
Waste too
there
much.
may be to consider the more water is, the more you break down the gum arabic in the product, and you don't have the same binders left on the paper.
yeah, that's accurate, but if you could get it to look pretty much like a watercolor, I'd recommend that you didn't do that, that you would just use a watercolor for a watercolor and a gouache for a gouache.
Right.
Because really what you're doing is you're learning how to use the different things, watercolor, and you learn how to use a gouache.
Yes.
And
So all the things you said were accurate. Thank you very much, Caroline. It is the same pigment. It is the same binder. It's just way more pigment load.
seems like you're wasting money if you're diluting it, and you might as well get the watercolor.
I would agree with that.
Thank you, John.
Oh, you're very
Thank
welcome.
you, Stella.
Great question. Thank you, everybody, for answering those. So this is Jane's Gray. Payne's Gray. That was Jane's Gray. This is Payne's Gray. So Payne's and Jane's.
Similar. They're quite similar.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah. Alvaro. This is his Caliente, the warm. This is Alvaro's Fresco. Cool.
Another one.
Jane's Black. And this is her red green. And this one here is Jane's Black. And this is her blue orange. And yeah, the camera makes it a little bit brighter, but you can see there's a difference here in front of me. You can kind of see the difference on the screen too.
Yeah.
Camera's doing a much better job today. This is Ivory Black.
I love that.
Yeah, I like the ivory. You know, it's so there are nuances difference, of course, between the gouache and the watercolor. If you look at the watercolor as a drawdown, or if you look at any of your paintings, you can see the warmth of the ivory black. You can look toward, the leading edge and see that there's like a warmth, there's like a brownish, yellowish to it, which is really quite beautiful. Less so within the gouache because there's just so much pigment. Lamp Black. titanium white. And this is a duochrome. This is duochrome mauve. Mauve. See that, show that to you. You can kind of see that. This is the pearlescent.
John, what is the main difference between the lamp black and the other black we just mentioned, ivory black? Lamp black, ivory black.
So lamp black is it's the darkest black that we have. Ivory black has a more of a warmth to it. You can kind of see. I'll get. You mean here in gouache? What's the difference in gouache or in watercolor?
Both.
So it's definitely ivory black is warmer in watercolor. You can see it. It's just a warmer color. That's a little bit taken out in the gouache because it's such a high pigment load. Still, the lamp black is going to be much darker, but you don't necessarily have that same warmth that you would have in watercolor. I will take a moment either today or I will have it tomorrow to show you. I'll take out the drawdowns of the watercolor and show you. This is the iridescent moonstone. This is the iridescent sunstone. Hey, Giovanni, do you have the sample of the lamp black and a sample of the ivory black that we can show?
Absolutely.
You may find that our
How about show them as watercolor? Because that's really will show the warmth really quickly on the ivory black. I can show the gouache here, but I don't have the watercolors.
Oh, in watercolor, yeah?
In watercolor, please.
In watercolor. Okay.
And this is the iridescent Aztec gold. It's a really cool color.
Yeah, nice one.
This is iridescent copper.
Oh, that's pretty too.
Yeah.
This is iridescent gold. The other one was Aztec gold. This is iridescent gold. And this is iridescent electric blue.
I
Hmm.
love
So
that.
nice.
Nice.
I love that color.
Yeah, it's gonna be so popular.
Okay, John, this is watercolor.
Okay, so Giovanni's going to show the difference. So I see lamp black. And where's the ivory, Giovanni?
Next.
Okay, so you can see the difference right there between the lamp black and the ivory black. And the ivory black, if you look on the edge, what I see is when you see water puddling on the edge, it has like a slight buff yellowish to it. So it's a warmer feel to it.
Are those opaque or transparent or opaque?
The lamp black is opaque.
This is always the watercolor.
Okay, so lamp black, opaque.
So here, you know what we can do? We can do it a really easy way here. Let's Ethel, can you go back? Can I share the screen one more time?
Sure.
So in the CLab is a little bit on the positive side, so that's why it's warm.
Okay.
Screen.
I wonder if it's opaque.
You can select share screen, John, again.
Control V. Let's look at them here. I think it's easier because we can actually do.
It says that lamp black is opaque and ivory is semi-transparent.
Yeah.
And it's
Here, share screen. Okay, now you should be able to see that.
Yep.
And we can go. So that's going to be our lamp black.
okay.
Add it.
Related. Ivory. Okay.
Any other ones you want to see?
Ivory, Luna.
Lunar, okay. Okay. And now we compare them, and there we see them. So lamp black is definitely the darkest by far. And ivory, you can see like there's kind of a, let's do a bigger one. You can see it has a warmer tint to it. Even
Yeah.
on the edge, you can see more of a warmer tint to the ivory. And here we see them side by side. So here's the ivory black. Here's the lamp black. And here is the here's the lunar black.
Okay.
The lunar black is actually, you know, outside of watercolors, it's actually called Mars black, and it's a very, very dark black. It's a beautiful black, but it has this super high granulation, and even the black tourmaline, which is a natural, which is a genuine, has a really beautiful black. But certainly, the one that has the densest particles on it, and therefore from an eye standpoint, because you're seeing less of the white come back from the paper, is going to be your lamp black. And so ivory seems to be a little bit warmer.
Yeah, I can see that. You almost see the brown.
It's kind of a cool tool to, you know, to actually see other colors beside it, or even in the comparison, you can actually kind of play around. Even the graphite gray is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice.
Nice.
Now let me come back to you.
John,
Yes.
asked how many colors are there in the gouache range?
I was going to ask that question.
I didn't, in the gouache range,
Yeah.
74.
Wow. Are they all available now?
74 right there. Yes, they're all available now. So we have produced them all. We've sent them all out to distributors. It depends on when the stores take them in to put them on their shelves or on their websites, but they're all out there. Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I think the brand ambassadors will show their favorites tomorrow, I believe.
Yes.
Which would be always very interesting to see. Let me come back to you guys. Come back to Zoom. Ethel, can you leave that for me? Thank you. Ethel's always in control. Okay, so let me change cameras. Oh my God, that I didn't know it was that late. Thank you for staying on so long. Okay, so tomorrow we'll be looking at the brand ambassador's favorite gouache colors. And if you have any questions between now and then, it'd be a great time to ask them tomorrow. Thank you for taking part in the development of the CLab. I will add the other things that you brought up to it to make it a more useful tool, and start work on the wish list, what I have app. So, and when that comes, I'll leave you to test that out for me. Let me know what you think. So it's great seeing you. You know, one of the best times I've had, I've kind of tried to figure out how many hours. It's 2 days a week for 52 weeks out of the year. I spent a lot of time with you. And then if I look at how many artists.
We're so lucky. We're so lucky.
We appreciate it so
I
much.
am super lucky.
Absolutely.
It is so fun. You know, it's here in Seattle, I'm looking at gray days, but it's just so fun being with all of you, and definitely watching your unbelievable talent on Fridays. And I love your questions. So if you've ever been, I don't know about ask a question, please ask questions. Love to hear questions. If there's something I could do better, I'm a businessman and I love doing what I'm doing. If I can do something better, I want to hear that, because that's what it should be all about. So thank you all very, very much, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you, John.
Thank you,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.